All right, welcome to another scintillating episode of the Friday Night Mix. Woo! As you know, it's always a very lovely time to be in the studio to just talk about very important things, especially in the immigrant community, right? And we are here again today. I'm here again today. As you can see, you might see that I have a new, you can see, I'm looking, I have new teas, like they say it now. All right, and I'm alone because my co-anchor, my co-host, she has traveled. She left me hanging like she normally would do because she likes enjoying all by herself. But I'm not alone in the studio today. I am here with the very, very pleasant, loving person who has been on this show before, but we're bringing him back again because we have something really important to talk about today, and that's why we're bringing him back on the show today. First, let me know, how we doing? You can leave a comment, you can leave a like, let me know how we're doing out there today. How are we coping with the Calgary weather? I think the weather is getting even better, but we'll get into that also, whatever way you're feeling. But the person I'm bringing up tonight on the Friday Night Mix, he is a trained microbiologist. I mean, like I said, he's been on the show before. You've seen the flyer all around, right? So I'm sure you're able to follow along with what I'm saying, and probably even know the person that is coming up on the show tonight. But I still need to introduce him. Yoruba people say Gunla, the big masquerade. He's a lead consultant at the Nutraceutical Health Solutions. It's a health and wellness advisory company that provides services in the management and reversal prevention of health conditions through diet and lifestyle modification. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if your hands are not busy, let us make welcome the one and only David Adedeji Alabi. Welcome to the show.
Yeah,
it's good to see you, sir.
I don't have your steez.
You do have the steez for sure. We know that for sure. Welcome to the show. It's good to see you again. It's good to have you.
Good to have me in the studio. And last I'm here.
Yeah, here. Yeah, the last time we were supposed to be in the studio like this.
That was
you were caught in the air for more than 1 hour after the show had ended. We had gone to drink before you called and said, "I'm now in the city."
Sometimes you think you're wondering whether you're on earpiece or.
I'm telling you, that's just life for you. Sometimes, even as much as you try to do the best you can, everything is well done systematically.
I tell you,
you still have to contend with unpredictability.
Yeah.
Welcome on the show again today.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. So it's a pleasure being here.
Yes. So today we are talking about something that is quite important to me, because when you brought up that topic, I actually told you that it's dear to me, and we're talking about developmental delays, right? And when we talk about developmental delays, it could be anything really. It could be in the. I remember calling you and I said it could be with your children. It could be with older person. But let's talk a little bit about it, just to lay the premise for what we're about to talk about.
All right. Thank you very much. Personally, this is so dear to me. I'm passionate about this because the statistics are not looking good at all. For developed countries that has got diagnostic tools, it's almost between 15 to 20% of the population that are diagnosed with developmental delay, and we say
can you say that again?
About 15 to 20%. In some countries, it's even more. in developing countries, because they are not diagnosed. And this is my concern, because the topic today, we're addressing immigrant families. All right, because my concern is when I sit in my office and I sometimes sit across the consultation sessions with parents who had actually brought their kids. I don't say it all the time, but I discovered that the parents themselves grew up and probably managed it, but if they had grown in an environment where there was enough diagnostic tools, quite a number of them would have been diagnosed properly. So I see the trait. I see, like, okay, this trait is present in the parents, unknown to them. So they complain about these things about their kids, which are the symptoms that they see. So it's a silent pandemic.
Can you give us an idea about what that trait is?
All right, so to break it down, developmental delay generally it has so many components, so many groups manifesting so many symptoms, and they have been classified, generally speaking. So the most common is the autism spectrum, which is the disorder, and then that also some of the symptoms even overlap. Okay, so if you find a child, let me start with autism. So you find a child. In the first 18 months of the child's life, everything seems to be normal. Okay, growing properly, talking properly, chatting properly. You know, even in so many cases, the child has started talking. The child started saying a few words. But between that 18 months period, there is a serious change. And so you find delay in social skills. You find a child who would usually jump up, embrace people, play with other kids, now withdrawing to himself. You find that the speech development, language development is also decreased, at such a time. You find that also coming up. You also find issues sometimes with inattention. So the child can no longer concentrate. So the child is kind of neither here nor there. Most times the child can't even maintain an eye contact. They are just disorganized. And then you find a whole lot of some of these symptoms in some other conditions. So for autism, right, in this side of the world, analysis are done, and then the child is properly diagnosed. Then we know, okay, this child is on the spectrum. And then they can start working on that child. Again, management is something else that we will talk about as we go on this show. So autism is one of them. Okay, so we have the very common one, which is the ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And then so hyperactivity has been removed, has been dropped. So we say ADD. Okay, and so when you also have that, so about 2 years ago, studies have also shown that there are many traits we have found in people in adulthood that are kind of their effects of their ADD or ADHD. Okay, so you find people who can actually maintain relationships. It's affecting people in marriages, but they don't know. And some people are dying in churches and saying it's the devil. It's not devil. Some of the things we have attributed to the devil are mental health disorders. Okay, it's not deliverance that person needs. That person needs help. All right, so
medical health.
Yeah, mental health. All right, so you find issues of financial issues. All right, because of impulsivity, which they are so impulsive, they don't even think things through. Inattention is also a situation with people who have ADHD. So you have people who can actually sit through a job. 6 months, they are off to another job. 1 year, they are the same thing they do on the job, they do in their relationship. So this month, they are with this lady. The next one, another guy, another guy. And you are wondering, they just tell you, like, I just get fed up with people easily. It is a condition.
It's a condition.
All right. But because there have been no diagnosis, so nobody is talking about it. So you have that in that order. Then you have dyslexia, which is like language development issue, and then you have the one that has to do with mathematics, dyscalculia. So you have children who cannot, even adults, even as we speak, right, there are adults. Anything calculation, don't bring it near them. It's a disorder. It's a disorder, and you have many people who are living in all of this spectrum. Then we have the very, very acute ones. You have cerebral palsy.
Cerebral palsy.
So I have a couple of clients like that brought in from Nigeria. Funny enough, I mean, sometimes it's so sad because they've done everything they could in Nigeria, and then they bring them down here for medical help, and but that's a condition too. So people ask the questions. The question is, why this? How does this start? All right. I cannot provide answers to all of the reasons, but there are possible. There are likely things that we can actually, put our finger on and say this and this and this could be responsible.
Before we get to the solutions, because absolutely that's what the show is about. Right. I like to quickly talk about, the aspect where a lot of us back home, especially in Africa, we've seen these things that like their spiritual warfare, like their spiritual issue. Why would I have a child that just does not want to concentrate in school? And how African parents are. It's easy to just talk about, but look at Chinedu.
Yeah.
And then they begin to compare children.
All right. And these are children who are not even on the same level.
And then they take them to churches and they take them to deliverance and they're afraid.
So people are watching us right now that were beaten by their parents.
Yes.
They went for those deliverance sessions where they would get brooms and beat the devil out of them, thinking they were casting out demons from them, exorcism.
So what do we tell parents like that have, trained their children the wrong way? Right.
Seriously, if you are a parent who had done that to your child, you need to apologize to that child. And if you're a child who actually went through that, you need help, because you probably wouldn't know better. Might not know how to raise a child. Also, because that probably is the system And again, most of us grew up that way. So for some of us, we understand, the only thing we understand about raising up kids is to punish them.
Yes.
Yell at them. Okay. If you want your child to do something, you scream at the child, you raise your voice. And sometimes when the kids are also like throwing tantrums, so there is a power tussle. So if the child shouting at you, you are shouting back at the child. Now, what happens is that because you have a broader voice, a louder voice, the child at some point would have to succumb to you. Not because the child believes in what you are saying, because there's a scenario, a case that happened. A child was in class. The teacher told all of them to stand up. The child said no, he wouldn't stand up. The teacher now, used as an adult. You have to get up. So the child reluctantly stood up, and the child now said, "Well, I'm standing up physically, but in my mind, I'm sitting down."
Just so you know.
So you know that I'm only obeying you, but in my mind, I'm standing up. Which is what happens in most of the kids we are raising, in many homes today. All right? And so, you see, one other thing you have done or taught that child is that to address issues or to resolve issues, what to do is to scream at you. Because what you have displayed there is what we call co-regulation. So you have taught that child a method of co-regulating himself. In the case of when he's emotionally disturbed. So how do you respond? You scream, you shout. And so that is what, and you see, unfortunately, again, when you now see the divorce statistics, when you start seeing the functionality in marriages, in homes, people think some of these things are also spiritual. I'm hearing so many things that, men are scum, blah. They are not scum. That guy needs help. All right. There are many men that need, not men alone, both sides. The advocacy for us is to begin to bring to the forefront mental analysis, mental evaluation before marriages are conducted. Before you go marry somebody, check the person's mental health.
I know what we only do in Nigeria, we check the
account balance.
And the blood group.
The blood group. Blood group is coming to it's becoming rampant too because of the issue of SDS, and the likes. But after that, nothing else, no other check is conducted. But when you begin to hear stories of what goes on in marriages, in homes, you don't need someone to tell you somebody here is not mentally
okay.
I say the Bible is so, even scripture says that. It say every man, no man no man beats himself. Every man nourishes. But what Apostle Paul did not put is that every normal man.
Because some people are working, but they're not.
They are not. All right. So we need to now begin to reevaluate, because how can you say you're married to someone is your couple, your partner, and you don't talk
essentially yourself,
and you don't talk to yourself for 3 months, and you sleep on the same bed. Something is lost somewhere. All right. But all of this, and again, you find people who are also married, like people going to marriage. Before they enter into marriage, they know they are not people. They are not people persons. Like, they can be on their own without any relationship, without relating to anybody for days, and nothing ever will not drop. Now you go to marry,
they're under pressure to marry from their parents.
Exactly.
And that's why
maybe under pressure, right?
And they have not even discovered that they have issues.
Yeah, they have issues they have to resolve. Okay, so we have all of these because, like I said at the beginning, that in developing countries there are no diagnostic tools. So a lot of people don't even know. So sometimes you wonder how Nigeria is thriving as a nation. Right now, Kenya is boiling at the moment. Right?
Yeah.
Now, it's normal. They will go back to adjust. They will go back to normal. Right? The things Nigerians are going through, you will still believe that after going through all of these things, there will be adjustment in expenditures, personal budgets.
Fiscal responsibility.
Responsibility will take place. Have you seen any? With all you are seeing on social media, have you seen any? That tells you something is
fundamentally
wrong. It's not leaving America or leaving Nigeria to come to America or to come to the UK that makes
your life better.
No. But when they come here, and that's another difference. You see our women, Nigerian women, most of them quickly adjust. They change. But most Nigerian men
don't.
They don't. They don't. It's a mental conditioning. It's a mental conditioning. All right. So we need to go back to where all of this starts from and then begin to look at ourselves and assess ourselves. Okay. So we have refused to see it as a disorder, which is what, because of course, when 20% of the world's population is going to be on this spectrum, on this condition, what is being pushed right now is to educate, inform, and engage so that we begin to accept them as the normal.
Let me, I was going to, and I like where you landed on. I was going to go to, is there anyone without any of this condition? Because there's a wide spectrum, and I'm using the word spectrum, but is there anybody living without? Because I meet a lot of people here. When I got here, was when I found out that people normalize, and I'm talking about both blacks that I met that have been here a while, and Caucasian and other tribes.
Right.
And I hear them talking normally about their mental, like, oh, I have ADHD. Oh, I have I'm dyslexia. And I'm like, where I come from, we don't. Even if you have those conditions, you kind of keep it to yourself or keep quiet.
You confess positive.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to. How would you say you have a dyslexia? No, you're looking normal. So is it okay to normalize it? And I know this is another line of question, but is there two questions in one? Anybody living without conditions, or is there? Is there anybody living? Is there anybody living without the condition? And is it good to normalize it?
All right. So I will speak from both sides of the two sides of my mouth.
Okay.
Because of the peculiar nature the nature of the work I do, and then what the regulatory
body also
expects of me.
Of you.
Okay, so, and I will also speak as an African person. Okay, so I will.
Can't take that.
I'm going to balance it up.
Okay.
All right. Number one, the fact is that before you can even be placed on the spectrum, it's not a function of having one symptom. Okay, so if it's to say that having a symptom puts everybody in a condition, then the entire world is going to be involved. So it's not one condition.
Okay.
But of course, everybody has gotten one of some of these conditions. For example, let's talk about inattention. With the current rave of handsets, smartphones. How many people can actually engage without their handsets? What is the attention span for an average person? Even the social media experts had told us that most people cannot stay on the content. If it's not engaging in the first 5 seconds, then they are gone. That is to tell you that something.
3 seconds now.
How many seconds is that?
3 seconds.
3 seconds? Now it will be 1 second very soon. So you see the problem here, that the attention span for the human race is dropping. And that's why when parents are quick to like condemn Gen Z, I'm like, when we were growing up, the things we dealt with are not the same things they're dealing with, because they have more distractions than we had in our days. When we were growing up, TV stations open by 4 p.m. and by 10 or thereabout, it's closed. You gotta go to bed. In their days, you have TV working 24 hours. Not just TV, you have iPad, you have all sorts of media projected towards these young people. So when you see a child who goes to school and is still an A student in this generation, they should be celebrated, really celebrated, because it takes a lot more discipline than the discipline we require to go through school. All right, so it's not one condition that says somebody has this. Now, the second thing is, do we normalize it? Okay, so the truth is that what the agenda being pushed is to normalize it. And we cannot, because the word right now is neurodivergence, meaning that they only think their brain works differently. So what we are saying is that it's not a disorder. It's only that, like we all think differently, their brains, these people's brains also work differently. Yes, there is a positive side to that, because of a truth. We all don't, relate or engage at the same level, and we should understand that as well. But now, what the push is that we have to now begin to absorb that into every strata of society, just like the LGBTQ agenda was pushed, and it's the same way this is being pushed, even more than that, because right now a whole lot of research work, a lot of studies are being done. Corporations, businesses are being encouraged, and they are very soon it's going to become a law. Of course, right now we have the Disability Act. Yeah. All right. So now it's going to be expanded to cover more issues and to even give more rights to people who are on, because of course 20% of any population is no joke. True. Is no joke. That's 2 out of every 10. Out of every 10, yeah, 1 out of every 5. Right, it's not joke. So we will now begin to live with this reality. This is what the government, science, and research is saying. Right. So I have a better news. Right, in all of this, okay? Because there are things to be done. And so for people who live in diaspora, this is the problem with us, because when some of us left, we think that once we are here, it's going to be like bed of roses. Yes, a safe haven. Like everything works well, because now the last batch of Japa are the ones who are shouting out and saying it's easier to even see a doctor in Nigeria than to see a doctor in the UK. But this has always been the case. Yeah. You got here into Canada, they will have to triage you to see a specialist. But back in Nigeria, max 2-3 days, that's even sometimes walking, you will see specialists and they will attend to you. All right. So many people came in here thinking that the moment they got in here, everything is on auto default. It's going to auto set, auto cruise. It's going to set itself, my child will get the best of care, except for some provinces. Most of the schools don't even have provisions. They don't have special schools, special needs schools. There are very few special needs schools. In schools where they have special, in schools, in many schools, they don't even have teachers who are trained to handle kids with special needs. Now, there are so many reasons for that. The first reason is that we don't want to discriminate, so let them begin to grow up together. But there is a place of differentiation, even in the classroom, because the kids are learning differently.
What I was going to say is, let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the effect that it does have on the immigrant family. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right.
It is entertaining, it is educative, it is informative. It is the Friday Night Mix Show with Fola Atoloye. Join in every Friday from 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time till the mic drops. Friday Night Mix Show. Tune in to the fun. It is entertaining, it is educative, it is informative. It is the Friday Night Mix Show with Fola Atoloye. Join in every Friday from 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time till the mic drops. Friday Night Mix Show. Tune in to the fun. It is entertaining, it is educative, it is informative. It is the Friday Night Mix Show with Fola Atoloye. Join in every Friday from 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time till the mic drops. Friday Night Mix Show. Tune in to the fun.
My foray into acting started right from when I was 8. The first thing I ever did, if you are conversant, was Tales by the Moonlight. And then I got a few roles on Tinsel.
Why did you come to Canada?
I came to Canada because I was searching for opportunities to expand my career and also to provide options for my family. I went back home last summer, right? And when I left in 2014, the question you usually get would be, you have such a great job, you make tons of money, why are you leaving? But when I went back last year, the question, you have,
can we come with you?
No, you have tons of money, what are you still doing here? Like, people who are in Nigeria, everyone's asking, you have tons of money, why are you still here, you know? Don't get me wrong, Nigeria is still a great place, but it still has lots of problems that need to be tackled, and it's pretty scary for people who are unsure of their futures.
So, you need to get one.
This is real. Hello, I am Omar Dalo, actor, producer, voiceover artist, and founder of Handcuffs Entertainment, and this is my journey.
All right, welcome back to the Friday Night Mix Show, and I'm sitting right here with Mr. David Alabi. If you're watching, make sure that you're liking, you're subscribing, and you are commenting. We'd like to hear your opinion on this. And we're talking about developmental delay, the impact on, immigrant families, and we just want to know. And we've been talking so far about, how some of our parents didn't even know that they had this condition. We ourselves, some of us, we do have this condition, and sometimes we're probably even taking out on our kids. So let's talk about the effects that it has on on immigrant family, because you were alluding to it before we took the break, and you're talking about how we come here and we think everything is going to be bed of roses, everything's just going to be fine. I should be able to see a doctor in 1 minute once I get into. I remember cracking a joke with a friend, and I said, urgent care, yeah, they should remove the urgent.
Just for care.
Because I go to urgent care and 3-4 hours, I'm still waiting to see the person that will direct me to the doctor. Not even the doctor. So how is it affecting immigrant families?
Thank you. So it's a serious problem because most of these children actually need 24/7 care. So you find families who can't. Now you need the two people in the family to be out there to work. They can't do that because they can't leave. If it's one child, they can't leave that child alone. Back home, you have cousins, community, all kinds of community to help you, but you don't have that here. Okay, so that's one major challenge. The number two is that back home as well, when these behaviors, I know a few people count like about 2-3 on my fingers right now who had to go back home just because of their children.
Back to Nigeria.
Yes, because of the kids. And you ask them, they'll be like, I can't spank him. I can't talk to him. If I believe that is wrong with him, when he gets back there, they will.
That's so ignorant.
Now that is a serious problem because most of the immigrants here don't even know how to deal with these situations. So they are frustrated. Many of them they feel helpless. Okay, in their conditions. That's number 2. Number 3 is that even most of the help available, they are not suited for our community.
That's right.
All right. So you find cases where, like I always tell people, if you look into the other community, you'll find many people who have survived cancers, 20 years, 30 years survivors, 15 years. Those are very rare things to come by in our own community because it's like in our community, it's a death sentence. They never come back. You know why? Most of the treatments, when the research for them were done, they weren't done with Black people in mind because, of course, they weren't done in Africa. They were done in North America, in Europe, where there was already a conspiracy theory that some of these things were being produced to kill us, to depopulate us. So our people will not participate in the trials. In the trials. So trials have been done. The medications have been passed. Treatment has been approved. But your people were not involved. And so right now, nobody even knows. Now it is now after effects. Now studies are now being conducted to now know how would these things, how do they react different? Why would they react differently for people of color? But you're only studying why, seeing how it's reacting differently for people of color. Nobody wants to put money on that. Let's go back to the lab and go and manufacture the one that will work with people because we don't even have the money in the first place. Right? So it is the person who they have the money, so they put the money behind their own people. You will see them, somebody's about to die. He's saying, I'm willing my entire estate to fund research in cancer, to fund research in this, in that. Our people, then they fund anything.
If they have their way, they will buy Lamborghini in
they will, in fact, they want to fly to heaven in a Ferrari. We put our priorities in the wrong places. And these are the problems.
I would say, I mean, that's a conversation for another day.
Another day.
You know, talking about African men and women, sometimes it could be depressing. But let's get to, the question of we looking at ourselves as immigrants coming here. And one of the things that stuck by me when you were talking about this is the parents that had to go back home because they couldn't spank their children.
Yes.
Is that because they think only spanking? Do we need to change our mindset in raising kids? Or is it because they just think only spanking can solve the problem of raising kids?
All right. Truth. I mean, speaking truthfully, is because that was the way they were raised. They don't know better. And sincerely, people need to be trained. And there are many training resources. All right. I told someone, when your child when the pitch of the tone of your child in the conversation is at 10, that is not the time for you to go to 20. It's actually the time for you to come to 5.
Diffuse.
Yeah. You de-escalate the situation. The child is not mad. The moment your tone comes down, he's going to meet you there.
Well, a lot of people work in customer service. They will tell you what you should do. And some of our parents, that's what they do when they're talking to a client.
Yes.
But then when it comes to your kid, you don't want to employ that same.
Right. Because again, before you engage, so this is why we think things are different. Because before you engage, now we're talking more about parenting. It's part of it. Part of it.
Yes.
Before you engage the situation, don't allow your emotions get the best of you. Right? Because that instinct that is your child will want to make you rush into the situation.
That's it.
But before you engage any situation, the first question you want to ask yourself is, how do you feel at the moment? If you're feeling, and funny enough, some of our parents are this, They had that. They could do that. They did that. I remember when I was in GS2. Was it GS2 or GS3? No. I was in SS1.
Busy B say awesome conversation. Thank you very much, Busy B. I appreciate it.
When I was in SS1, I crashed my dad's car.
Ooh.
And he was already dressed, ready for work.
Oh.
My job was to
clean the car.
So I've been doing that back and forth in the compound. This particular day, the ancestors told me to go around. And I had my younger brother with me sitting next to me. So we drove 5 minutes. Coming back into the estate, instead of us to drive into our compound, we wanted to go and make a U-turn at the end of the street. And making that U-turn
said, go and make that go and
the car crashed. My dad did not say a word. The drivers, he had about 2-3 drivers working for him at the time. They got into the vehicles and they drove off to work. He didn't say anything. In fact, till today, my dad and I have never had that conversation.
Are you for real?
But he has had that conversation with my sons.
You reported
because I was trying to tell my son that don't try to go and start driving. He has implications. Grandpa told us. Because the mark is still on my younger brother's forehead. He had a cut. It's on his forehead. Tomorrow he's still there. So their grandfather told them the story. But I took something away from that incident. He did not engage. Because for you, if you had engaged that day, I don't know what would have happened. But it was my mom who engaged. Nothing, no hard work. She just came and say, none of you, just that one. You're okay. You're fine. Oh yeah, go home. Oh yeah, let's go. Call one of the drivers. Drive the car home. The fence that we broke. Arrange for the bricklayers. Fix it. Covered it. And that was it. Nothing. She was saying, thank God. It's not more than that. Thank God. It go beyond that. The point is that as a parent, the first thing is to ask yourself, how do you feel in this situation? Sometimes it's best for you not to engage that situation. Because the truth is that the things we say to these kids in anger at such moments, they last for life.
That's right.
Sometimes
that's true.
We would never have an opportunity to correct those words. So don't engage. Now be sure that you are in a good space to engage. And if you must engage, don't engage with violence. Don't get, it's not fire for fire. That's power tussle. They're gonna be
they're your children.
They're children. But the reasons we lose a lot of respect. They fear us, but they don't really respect.
They don't respect or
true.
There
are two different things. Someone could fear you, but not revere you. But, it's just my dad. That's why I listen to him.
I like the guy that
sat down in class.
Even though I'm standing
but his mind, he's sitting down. Right? So we need to learn how to regulate ourselves, because it's the first thing is, do you regulate yourself? How do you control yourself, your own emotions when you get into such stuff? That is the first thing. So you want to first of all control yourself and say to yourself, right, I have to be calm in the situation. So allow that calmness to come, and then you can now engage the child.
And also having information also helps, because if you know that my child has ADHD, for example, my child is dyslexia, my child is, the obvious one is the Down syndrome, where it's obvious and they're like, okay, there's a disability here, but the ones that are not obvious, maybe a autism spectrum,
ADHD,
those ones might not be. And once you have that information, it helps you to also manage your children better.
True.
Right, to be a better parent, and to also help.
That's why I said diagnosis is the first thing. That child should be diagnosed. In fact, once you begin to see anything out of order, you need to cry out, speak for help. Let's know what is going on. It's not a question of faith. Some people will faith and say, "No, my child never." Blah blah blah. Yeah, the child will go on, but. It's like you're setting up trouble for yourself in the future. Troubles that you could have actually handled and solved. Because for real, the truth is that you're not helpless. Even if the system we are in right now is saying that it's not curable, it's not, you just have to live with it. I have so many testimonies. On my way here, I was still talking with some of the the vendors back from Nigeria, because people there, they can't get something, so they find some people. I was still talking to her, and I was saying, look, there are many people. Almost, I work with me for 6 months. After 6 months, I tell them, you don't need me anymore. You only need to come and see me once in a year. That's all. A lot of kids are off the spectrum. Confirmed. I'm not saying things that, sometimes, okay, like someone has asked me, why can't you begin to put their advert? I'm like, that's totally unethical. That's one. Number two, why do I want to make money off the lives of young children? They probably want to keep their records safe, private. Confidential, and then you now come to the pulpit, come to the social media and put it. You see, this my child, he used to be autistic. Nobody wants to do that. I put myself in their shoes, like, would I want to do that? Is that what I want
someone to do that to my family?
To my own family, right? So no, I wouldn't do that. There are many of these kids I have not even seen one-on-one physically. Like, if I want to consult, I just say, okay, come online, and then we'll put on Zoom. Most of them can't even sit still for 10 seconds. They cannot. They can't stay. They are gone. Just like the prayer, don't worry. I've seen what I want to see. Because I've seen situations where I had a child with cerebral palsy that the parents never told me anything. They never told me how bad the condition was. They were feeling for me. They live in Ontario. They were feeling for me. And I'm like, okay, I don't know much. I'll just tell you what to do. And they were doing it. The very first time that child would speak. Like
a miracle.
It was. It was a miracle. This was a child that could not even coordinate the neck. If you put the child down at 5, the head can't hold still. It's going to slouch backwards. Not move. Yeah, totally dependent. Can't do anything. Right? So I've had such cases, and I've had successes with such cases. So I tell people, you're not helpless. You just need to get the right information, get to know what to do. Even with autism, okay, let me shock you with this. I'm not saying do this against the advice. All right, there is a woman in America who first discovered how effective camel milk. Camels are. So camels. The milk from camel. Whoa. How effective it is for children who have autism.
Wow.
And then they began to propagate that. Okay, what can we do? Now, if you had never engaged such a community, you would not know something like that exists. And you would just believe you are helpless. If I tell you camel milk, you would think camel milk, where does camel milk, where does it come from? But the fact is that camels, they live long in desert places. Yeah. They could go days without water. And there is a system within them that makes them to just like a radiator of a car, that makes their engine to work and regulate their body temperature, their brain function, and everything. Now, it is this aspect of the camel that is now being employed to work on the brain. Now, there is this philosophy, it's a theory. It's science-based.
Just so you know, don't go and drink camel milk.
Don't go and drink camel milk. We put a caveat on this. Don't go and drink camel milk. So, the gut-brain connection, what it tells us is that your brain has an auxiliary brain. Your body has an auxiliary brain. There are 2 brains. The first brain is actually the one in here. The second brain is here.
Where?
Your tummy, your gut.
Is that why they say
your gut
follow your guts?
Yeah, follow your gut feelings. You have butterfly in your tummy when you are in love. Your emotions, most of your emotions are actually felt in your stomach, not here. If you are afraid, people are afraid that they have diarrhea.
Yes, yeah, I've seen that.
They run to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Pee. They pee on themselves.
True.
If you are under attack of fear, it is you could have stomachache. It's because of the neural connections between your gut and your brain. And what's in your gut? That's your tummy, your intestine. They make up all your gut. So everything that is happening there has a way it affects the brain. Especially in the case of autism, it's a serious connection. So what we try to do is when you want to jumpstart, there are some vehicles that has got 2 batteries, one in the front and one in the back. All right. Now, what you're trying to do is to jumpstart one battery with the other one. Jumpstart this one with this one. This one needs to be equipped with the right amount of the right amount of nutrient. So you have to talk about your diet so that you don't upset the ecosystem down there. You want to avoid these biases, because the root problem is actually dysbiosis. Now, this is a disproportionate balance between your tummy, the microorganisms that are there, because you have the good microorganisms and you have the bad microorganisms. All right, so there should be a balance in the bioflora of your stomach. All right, so that is what we want, first of all, to balance. If you can balance that one, obviously your body will be more effective to like kickstart and repair what is already wrong up here. All right, so that is the basis of some of the things that we try to do in natural health. All right, so and again, you have some other herbs, some other food supplements that are actually helpful to increase brain development. And then symptoms like hyperactivity, attention deficit, there are also herbs that will manage them, curtail them. Because of course, if a child is not doing well in school, a child who is distracted can't do well in school. So distraction is the greatest enemy of distinction. So you want to make that child go to school, focus, be calm. There are things to do. There are so many things along those lines. So those are the things we bring to play. And by the time you know it, sometimes they just tell me,
the child is getting better.
Nothing is wrong. No,
you're going to talk about the child that spoke for the first time. That was
that one that cannot even. I mean, so
his head could not even stay in the place.
Stay in the place. First, it was the head. You know, they would just tell me, we can now make him sit. She can sit on her own. The part again, and this is the danger. Do you know that the statistics is showing that male children, in fact, out of 10 cases, you probably will find about 6 that are male kids who are being affected in this condition. Yes. More male children are being affected than the female kids. Now, in this case, it's a girl. And the girl will, first of all, they will not pad, they could still pad her. She couldn't walk at the time. So they will pad on the right and the left. But now the neck could now stand without that. I have another case right now in Ontario too. The child was brought in from Nigeria.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because and Yomi says nutrition plays a major role. Makes sense.
All right, thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about, because there's a conspiracy going on in the community. I've been hearing it for a while now. Yes, you know, and the conspiracy. This one that I've heard is that when you take your kids for immunization, especially at like within 6 and 9 months, that if you notice, the black children are beginning to have autism. You know, after we give them those vaccines, after we receive those vaccines, that's why our children are having. Can't you see that this person's child now is diagnosed with autism spectrum? This child, how true is that? Because if we asked our doctor, we spoke to our doctor,
they will say no,
and the doctor said no.
You
know, but how true, or can you dispel that?
Seriously,
it's a rumor.
I'm going to make a balance, okay? Because it's difficult for me to say do not get vaccines
for your kids.
Vaccines had saved the world.
That's true,
and we can't run away from it. Okay, so this is where they have found themselves. This is trouble. The trouble is that.
When you say they, you mean the science word?
The science word. The science word. I have participated at several levels of WHO at the UN in New York, not once, not twice, and we were talking about issues that have to deal with children. Okay, so I know the level of conversation at that, because that's where everything is controlled.
That's true.
Right. So I know what the engagements look like. All right. So the truth is that many files are classified. You cannot.
Why are you classifying a file if everything is fine?
It is the reason everybody needs to take responsibility for their own health. Don't wait on. Okay, for example, now they've told us not to have a shower more than once. For how many weeks now? And it's going to go on for like 3 weeks.
They even say we should not shower at the point.
Yeah, at the point.
We're smelling
that we should shower.
Hey,
but you thought that was an emergency. It was not an emergency, because they did not fly those pipes into Calgary in 1 week now.
They said they flew it in 1 week.
And you believe
I was so you see, my brain works in such a way that I'm like, okay. And when I because I read it, and the community they were like, oh, thanks to Calgary, we're able to deliver as a hand.
San Diego.
And then I look at it, this sound like okay,
from San Diego.
This thing, you showed me a truck that brought it in. So if it's gonna be by road, it's definitely not gonna be 1 week.
It wasn't yesterday that the thing broke that they now began to place the order.
So I mean, let's go back to the conspiracy.
So the conspiracy theory. So the fact that they know these things before, that they knew that was going to happen, but they managed the information without letting us know, then they just shut down the pipes. Okay, so it was an emergency that had to be done. Now, in the case of the vaccines, we've had so many cases. For example, when polio was to be kicked out, Nigeria was behind and drew the entire world behind because of the case that happened with that pharmaceutical company and the kids in Canada. And because of that, many kids in the northern part of Nigeria refuse to take part of several vaccination programs. And, that means that apart from polio, so many other things too, many of those kids will be behind. Right. And so you're going to have the high rate of infant mortality, which is something that has to be controlled. Okay. Now, so managing information when it comes to vaccine, look at the case of COVID as well. See how many people ran away from COVID vaccines and how that took us so many times, a long time to recover from it. Okay, now, so
after over 1 million people in America
died.
In America alone, over 1 million people died.
Right. These are that have been saved by vaccines. Now, the truth again is that our community seems to be, let me use the word
superstitious.
No, they are just their cry is being heard because they are denied their right to refusal. Yes. In the other side, if you want to know, get close to them. Most of them are not taking the vaccine.
That's true. I know a lot of Caucasian families. I'll tell you, my children. I know a guy that I go to change my printer.
Okay.
We call them conspiracy theorists, but he would tell you he has all the information. This is why I would take the vaccine and all that.
Okay, so and it's because they have been documented. There are diagnoses. So when you look at the healthcare industry, why it is booming, it's because of the several cases they have. You look at some cases, my brother, you will wonder how on earth did somebody grow up like this? These are cousins, uncles. Back in our own case, some of those children will have been killed at birth. Some of them are family secrets nobody will ever hear about. Some of them are thrown and abandoned. So we don't get to hear about them. But they hear, they know. And so because of that, they are they do you know how many people lost their job because they won't get COVID vaccines? They prefer to lose their jobs than to get the COVID vaccines. Now, in our community, we need to understand the truth is that it's not vaccines that cause those things. Okay. There are genetic dispositions. Just like I said, in most of the times I sit down with parents, I see traits. Like, okay, that's a trait. That's a trait. All right. So the parent probably did not, because in genetics you have the dominant and recessive. Sometimes the balance, it could be shared equally. It's not like it's dominant, but it's not also recessive. You could see the traits there. In some people, it's dominant. Some people, it's completely recessive. So it comes in the third generation. Now, it could have remained recessive. Vaccines could be the trigger. So that is the role vaccines play. So instead of us to say we will not get vaccinated, I think what we should do is to get tested. You as a parent, you are getting engaged. Can you see a counselor? Can you go to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a psychotherapist who can actually run a few tests on you and give you your score sheet? Like, this is who you are. This is what you're likely to have. Now, your combination could actually result in this. And when you know those, now, what are the things now to do? Because we cannot, there are still so many cures to so many things. Vaccines are the only way. Hepatitis B is there. You have to get the vaccines. Like polio. There are, so many of these conditions. We need to get the vaccines. So if we say no, we won't get vaccinated, we are doing more harm to our community.
Do we need to have a bespoke kind of vaccination?
I agree that we've not come to the end of science.
Oh no.
But who is going to fund? Yeah, bespoke, not just
who is going to fund, especially because we have leaders in Africa who are everything they care about is basically corruption. How to steal money.
It's not just the leaders. There's somebody right now who is sitting at the head of a federal research institute in that same country. Ask them what research they are doing. Nothing. As long as it doesn't bring money to their table, they will not approve it.
They are researching their pocket.
But that's what they're doing. That's not the president. That's somebody who is put there.
Oh no,
there are also universities. Universities that are getting grants.
It's a cacophony of
and these are things you will not find here. A professor is still comfortable wearing slippers to
driving his bicycle.
His bicycle is okay. It's not. They are not ambitious.
Well, ambitious to want to own the whole world. They are ambitious to
impact their world. See, there is a medication for sickle cell disorder made by somebody in Nigeria. I won't mention the name. So, and for years, I've known people because I have a niece who grew up with sickle cell. The dad is late. All right. So now, when I got to North America, I discovered people. I said, sickle cell. That's not a hard thing. There is this. Now, when I went to research that guy, he too had left Nigeria. He's in the US as I speak. Guess what? That product has been researched by more than 50 universities.
It's product that was refused in Nigeria.
In North America. More than 50. If you go online, you will see all the research that have been done on what that product can do. And people are back in Nigeria dying every day for sickle cell. Unnecessary death. All right. So some of these things are things that I think we need to start asking ourselves the right questions. What's really important to us? What's important to us as a people, as a community? Are we now look at our kids now? Some of our kids are coming here now. You see, they'll tell you, don't tell them what to do. Let them be anything. Okay.
Let them be anything.
Let them not be. They can't be anything. We have to guide them because that's the scripture. The scripture says, train up a child in the way he should go. All right. So we can't just say, child, choose anything.
Anyhow you want to.
Nobody chooses anything.
What is your role as a parent?
As a parent, if you cannot guide your child, you have seen his weaknesses, you've seen his strengths. You can actually use that to help him, guide him through life and tell him what you can be good at. Now you now see our children. I experience this a lot in America. When you gather black kids together, ask them what are their career goals. They want to work in warehouse.
They want to work for McDonald's.
McDonald's.
And the ones that are ambitious are the ones that want to play basketball.
Play basketball. They hardly have a dream beyond that high school.
There's a research that says 41% of black children that are successful in America are Nigerians, not Africans. Not Africans. There are 41% of children that are excelling academically in America and Nigerians. They are doing the research now
on that
to find out how.
It's because the parents who brought them from Nigeria knew why they left Nigeria. So they don't want them to continue that same path. Because when you gather the African American kids together, I tell you, there is nothing in their head. But guess what? Go to Foot Lockers.
Find black kids
in Foot Lockers. If you find 10 kids in Foot Lockers, 8 are going to be black. 2 probably be white. True. The best of sneakers, the best of what do you call it? The best of jeans, the best of handsets, black kids. Jordan, Nike, black kids. That seems to be the goal for black kids. So I tell people sometimes, I said, look, the devil, even if America has a black president back to back 8 years, 5 times, that's 40 years. Nothing is going to change. It wasn't a Barack Obama thing. No, it was a thing. Yeah, it's a systematic, something that has been programmed into their subconscious. So they put that thing on auto cruise. So the devil just resigned and said, I've already installed to you the software that will destroy your destiny and generations, and you want to speak.
This show is for 1 hour, but I want us to talk about solutions.
Probably that solutions. Okay.
Yeah, let's do. I mean, it's already 59 minutes here, but it's fine. It's okay.
How many minutes?
It's 59 minutes already.
Oh,
now we are already into the hour. It's 7, but we have to talk about solution, right? Okay. Because a lot of parents are watching this right now, and they're like, I must have been doing wrong by my kids. I must have been, parenting wrongly.
True.
Number one, what's the first thing you should do as a parent if you find anything that is lacking in your child that you think is lacking? Maybe attention span, maybe just lack for to focus, whatever it is that is there. What should you do as a parent to actually help yourself first,
right? And
then so that you can help your children,
help that child. I think that you said it rightly. Help yourself first. Truly, as a parent, you can't help that child if you are not trained. And you need to actually get.
So the word is train.
Yes,
it's not more about. I am your father. I brought you to this world. I have to. It's
not America, because that child is looking at you, and he's looking for that opportunity to call the cops. And then the child will be taken away from you. Apparently, you have brought them here. That's a challenge for immigrant families. We can't parent the way they parent back home. Even back home, things are changing.
A lot of people now they think in their mind is, but this is how my father trained
me. Well, I don't know. My sons used to ask me then, is this the way grandpa trained you? And my answer is very simple. When you see him, ask him. You see our life, ask him. But the truth is that, we need to do better for most of our parents. Because you see, have you noticed that grandparents are lenient? We think grandparents are more lenient with their grandchildren, with our kids, than they were with us.
That's true.
It's because they learned that, look, that was a mistake they made. So they're not trying to correct that mistake with our grandchildren. All the they did it with us. Some of them in their heart of heart, they know we turned out well, not because of what they did.
No,
just God help them.
But what you're saying is absolutely true.
Yeah, but we have not uninstalled that software. We still believe my father slapped me, I must slap my child. Once daddy comes in, the lion of the tribe of our family is in. Everybody must get out. We still believe it's no, we still do that. We still believe that is the software. But even our grandparents have already removed. They were like,
and you see something, it's hero now. You are now soft. If it was me, I think that you would have thrown to me. Strong shoe.
But our parents now know that they didn't do well by us, and we are refusing.
Should you wait to make that kind of mistake where you also
we can't afford it?
We can't afford it.
Unfortunately, we can't. You know why?
Can't.
You know why? You can't tell your father, Daddy, don't be silly. But your son can tell you that.
That's right.
They could tell you, Daddy, Daddy, why are you raising your voice? Daddy, why are you screaming? There is a buyer. You can't say those things now. So we can't afford to use that same software. I have friends across the globe. One major voice is Praise for Owe.
Praise.
I have had, even in the course of helping parents with developmental delays, at some point, I tell them there is an aspect of nurturing. That even aside medication, supplements, and all of that, there's a place where, because some of these kids, like the social skills are completely absent.
That's right.
And you also find that those of them who have siblings within their age range, I discovered they also pick social skills. They pick up quite fast after everything is, being normalized. That becomes a training ground for them. Okay, so they could now begin to learn some stuff, But I tell people, you need to get trained. There's always there. I refer people to him, meet with him. He can actually craft for you a customized program based on your own family peculiarities, and then help you how to navigate this. Because it's a season. If we look at that, it's an investment in the life of this child. Nothing will be too small to help that child, because that child, you see. Now, do you also discover that when you go to the creatives, arts, music, a whole lot of them were on the spectrum.
That's true.
A lot of them.
You find them say, "Oh, I was really quiet before the music hit me."
Music was my means of expression. Music was my outlet. Right now, and that is also the other part of it again is that's why you see the suicide rate. It's high after using drugs to help mask what we're dealing with, and then it gets to the point where drugs can't help and they take their own lives. But these are issues that should have been dealt with. Good parenting, who observes, who had seen what was wrong, because of course they do. Like we said, they just think differently. They do excellently well. I had a boy, Caucasian boy, who at 6, he reads better than everybody in his class. And it's on the spectrum. He reads better. But why you will know he's on the spectrum is when you give him a pen to write. He can never write anything. He will never write. It is a struggle to write. The teachers and everybody in the school, they had fought. So they brought me in. So my first meeting, the father was living in denial. The mother knew something was wrong. Go for help. Now, Caucasian. So the first meeting I had with them, I was the only black face. The meeting I had with them. I said, okay, first off, I had observed the child for 2 days. So first off, this child, you are placing too much demand on this child than what he's capable of doing.
That's right.
This child cannot sit in a class for 45 minutes. It's not possible. He doesn't have the capacity to sit down for 45 minutes. Do you know what he does? He begins to throw tables, chairs, books. He distracts every other child at the class. So they were always fighting. Principal have to go call the parents to come and pick him up. After, so when I told them, this child needs 10 minutes, every 10 minutes he has to take a break. They said, you see, I said, yes. What kind of break? Put some games, chess, toys, engage him. Let him do something outside of studying. Bro, that was the solution. Pending the medical pending them, because I told them this will only work for a while. It needs to be supported. It needs help. It was the first time the dad would agree to book an appointment with the doctor for the child. So many cases, right? So the first thing, know yourself as a parent. What are the traits? Some of these traits are in you as a parent too, but you never diagnose it. Get diagnosis, then move up from there. Get trained, get training, get resources. There are two different things. You can get resources. You can also get training. You can have resources and not be trained. You will not be able to apply those resources.
That's right. That's true.
So application is an entirely different thing. For example, look at the issue of the tone of voice that we talked about right now. How do you apply that? How do you apply issues of affirmation? How do you ignore the negatives and call out the strengths of a child when a child is actually, we call it is in behavior. So we don't want to address where he's weak, we want to address where he's strong. We want to point out to what he has done before. And these are things, these are something that are even cultural to us. Like in those days, if they don't want to spank you, they give you your oriki. What do you call that thing? Your
panegyrics.
Yeah, panegyrics. In your father's lineage, this is who they are. This is what they do. Somehow it kind of resonates. And when you say that to a child, do you remember what you did? Do you remember how you did last time? Last school year? You had fantastic, wonderful. Yeah, the child recalibrates. That's right. The child adjusts. Sometimes you just have to change expectations. It cannot be your way all the time. Because that again on its own is also a mental disorder. And many parents have it. And they don't know.
I wish we could go on tonight, but we've come to the end of the show today. But it's not the end of this series. We're still going to be talking about this because we need to really address this. I think a lot of homes are breaking because of this situation. And if we can address it, then we can help to keep homes together, healthy and safe. Thank you to everyone that has joined us tonight. Busy B, Oluwayomi, thank you so much. We will be coming back to you again, not next week because we'll be on a break next week. But when we come back 2 weeks from now, a fortnight from now, we will be bringing someone else on the show, but we will have to bring you back, Pastor D.
I'm in town.
Since
you now let out the you let the cat out the bag.
Yes. So so we'll be bringing you on the show, and it's also fun to have somebody in the studio Since I started this, down in my studio, it's been me, and we've always done virtual. But now we have PD in the city. Thank you so much for coming, driving down.
Thank you for having me.
It was really fun.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We will see you a fortnight from now. But remember, whatever you do, get help.
Very true.
Any last word before we go?
Yeah, get help. Start working on your diet. I cannot overemphasize that. Yeah, you want to really watch what you're feeding the kids up with. It's garbage in,
garbage
out. Many of the things out there, again, let me give you one clue. Whatever food you are feeding your child with that has artificial colors, that the colors are not natural colors, right? There is something called coloring that have been added into those foods. You can go research them. That will give you a clue.
That would give you a clue. Till we'll see you next week or next 2 weeks. Have a pleasant evening.
It is entertaining. It is educative. It is informative. It is the Friday Night Mix Show with Fola